Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Warner, Assistant AD for Communications at James Madison University. Welcome to our guests, our JMU men's basketball student athletes, members of the media, and all of our supporters in JMU Nation for joining us today, as well as those tuning in live on Madazone. We're thrilled to be gathered here in the Convocation Center to usher in an exciting future for James Madison men's basketball with the hiring of our new head coach. JMU Director of Athletics, Jeff Bourne, will announce the hire, then turn it over for comments from our new coach. At that time, we'll open the floor for questions from the media who are gathered here today. At this time, please welcome our AD, Jeff Bourne.
Good afternoon. Been a whirlwind couple of weeks in JMU athletics, especially with the two hiring vacancies that we have, and I'm pleased to announce today that one of those is complete, and we're going to shortly introduce you to our new coach. Process like we've just been through doesn't just happen. It's the result of a lot of hard work. I want to thank Eddie Fogler of Fogler Consulting, who worked diligently with us through this process, did an outstanding job of identifying a great group of candidates and a great group of finalists that we interviewed for this position. I also want to thank our committee. By the way, this is an unpaid committee. This is all volunteer work. So I want to thank them for the time they took outside of their respective jobs and responsibilities. I think we've got a couple of them here with us today. But first and foremost, our Senior Vice President, Charlie King. Charlie, appreciate you and your leadership. Joe Funkhauser, local business person, ex-rector of our board, was also on that committee, along with Mike Battle, the current chair of the BOV Athletic Committee. Many of you remember Mike. He's a ex-student athlete at James Madison. And Dr. Roger Sangston, our faculty athletics representative and a faculty member here at JMU, also served on that committee. And again, want to thank them for the time and the energy they put into this search. When a decision was made that we were going to go in a different direction and a new start with our men's basketball program, at the time I talked about a new vision for who that candidate and ideal coach might be. We talked about an individual that could serve as a mentor to our young men, somebody that would help them focus diligently on their academic progress and achieve at a high level academically. We talked about somebody that related to them in all facets of their life and would help them grow individually. We also talked about somebody that would engage heavily in our community and somebody that would be a good fit for JMU and for our local community, and somebody that could help return a lot of the energy to this building that we had a number of years ago. And last but not least, we talked about a person that would achieve success in postseason play. And that is a fundamental element of and expectation for our program. I'm glad to say at the end of our work, we found that person, and that individual is Louis Rowe, and we're glad to have him with us today. After an extensive search with a great group of candidates, our finalists included several individuals that had a lot of strengths. But when the committee sat down at the end of the day and considered what Louis Rowe had to offer, the decision was an easy one. We found somebody that can move this program and be a great match. Lou is sort of the best of JMU. He's one of us. He wore a purple jersey, played in this building, cut down nets during his tenure. He has a strong ability to relate to student athletes, and beyond that, he represents the total package. He understands the JMU culture and what it takes to be successful at this institution. He sat in the classrooms, he was in the study halls, he worked with the academic advisors and helped our young men progress and do well academically. In the end, he knows what it takes for young men to be successful. Lou didn't just excel as a coach here, He excelled wherever he was, and his relationship with individuals carries beyond the classroom, beyond the playing court, but it carries to their lives and to help them mentor when they leave and when their JMU experience is complete. Right now, he's looking for a group of individuals, and I think he's found them in his assistant coaching staff that share his work ethic and his ideals. And we are extremely pleased to have them join us as well today. As we work to move to a new building, to a new facility, and usher in a new era in the men's basketball program, Lou's passion is going to be critical to that. And for those of you that are out there today that get a chance to meet him and know him, that passion will carry over to individuals in and around our basketball program, and it will help us as we go to build that new facility. I know he's eager to establish new relationships here, and we are confident that his relationship with our student athletes, our faculty, our university leadership, and the JMU community will all prosper in the days ahead. In closing, another group I think he can be very, very instrumental with, and he will take a very active role, given he's been through several eras of success at JMU, is our letter winners, a great group of individuals with whom we need their support going forward. We are at a good place. We have found a great coach, and it's my pleasure at this time to introduce to you the new head coach for the men's basketball program at James Madison University, Louis Rowe.
Congratulations, David. Appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you. I want to start by saying we're going to take our hoodies off when we come in the building. All right? Thank you. They got you. It's team great. That's perfect. Good afternoon. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you all for coming out today. I'm honored to be the new basketball coach at James Madison University. I want to start out by thanking President Alger for showing his faith in me. I want to thank the selection committee, Mr. Bourne, Mr. King, Mr. Battle, Mr. Funkhauser, Mr. Sankson. Thank you so much. JMU is a special place. It's a unique environment here. They care about the people. They want to help you. They want to push you to succeed. I can tell you myself, I would not be standing here today if it wasn't for people like Miss Casey Carter, Miss Daphne Thomas. What makes this day even more special is I have James Pelham and Darren McClinton, two of my lifelong friends, former teammates. They feel the same way that I feel about this school, and they know we're the men today because of this university, and that's what I want to give to you all. I do understand that there's some challenges going forward with this university and this program, or with this program within this university. We have a large number of our recruits. We have 8 recruits next season, and we need to go forward balancing out this recruiting class. I myself am a strong recruiter. This is something I pride myself in. I will be bringing in hard-working guys on and off the court that want to make JMU proud. We will compete for championships. We will be fun. We will be exciting to watch, but we are going to go to class, and we're going to graduate. I also understand the need for fundraising and the need to boost attendance. Mr. Bourne, I got to tell you, anything you need me to do, I'm there for you as far as the process of fundraising. Point me in the direction, and I will be there. I played here, okay? I played here when it was full every day, and that's what I want to bring back to this school. In closing, I just want to say really quickly, I know it's hard sometimes. I know there's a lot of questions when you hire a new head coach. All I'm going to tell you is, everybody in here, everybody that's listening, I'm going to work hard every day for James Madison. I'm very proud of this institution. It means so much to me. I'm passionate and I'm energetic. I'm passionate and energetic about basketball. I'm passionate and energetic about this university. And I'm passionate and energetic about leading these young men. And I'm going to bring that passion every day when I come to work. Thank you.
All right, we'll now open it up to members of the media who are gathered here today to ask questions of both Mr. Bourne and Coach Rowe. We do have some mics for the media passing around, so please request a mic and address your question.
Hey, Lou. It's Nick Sunderland from the Daily News Record. I'm curious, right over here, Lou. Straight ahead.
Oh, okay. How you doing?
How's it going, man?
Not bad.
Anyway, when you left Harrisonburg last week after your interview, did you feel like you were going to be the guy who was named the next head coach?
Well, I feel like I was prepared for my interview, and I felt like I did a good job, and I was hoping and praying.
What's it like to be back here? Did you ever think you were going to be in this position?
Well, I was always prepared for it. I was always thinking about it, and to tell you what it feels like, it's amazing. I look around, again, Darren and James are here. To see these young men that I get to coach, it's an exciting feeling. I'm just looking forward to it.
Coach Andrew Clay, WHSV. The coach you're replacing won 20 games last season. Does that put any extra pressure on you to be successful from day one?
I always put pressure on myself. I put pressure on myself since trying to get better playing high school basketball. I put pressure on myself in everything I do, so there's no added pressure. I just want to be the best I can every day and try to help these young men get better.
What are your top priorities here in the first month on the job? What are you trying to get done?
Well, want to establish a relationship with the guys, kind of get settled on what they're doing academically, see where they're at, and then establish who I am as the head coach so they know what my expectations are so that we can hit the ground running.
Did you get a chance to meet with them yet? And if so, what was that meeting like?
Yes, sir. I met with them yesterday. It's a closed-door meeting. I think it went well.
You don't want to share any details? Feed us a little something from that?
Some stuff is just between us. No. I think it went well. It was really good to see him. I was excited. I'd been since Thursday. I was kind of chomping at the bit to get here. So I was excited to see him. I think they were all great.
Have you hired your assistants yet? I know Mike came on. Have you filled out the other two spots and director of basketball operations, all that?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm a worker, and I had a group of guys that are kind of similar to me. They all had the same work ethic. They all care about developing these young men. And just to show, they all came in today, so everybody's here.
Could you give us some names?
Byron Taylor from North Florida. Dave Contaxis, right there. And Larry Davis.
Obviously, you played here when the arena was packed and Lefty was playing a very exciting up-tempo style of play. What kind of style of play are you going to bring to JMU?
Similar. Again, you learn from the people that you're around, and I'm a student of the game. I love the up-tempo game. I want to play with pace. I want to have an open court kind of motion offense. I want to put these guys in positions where they can exceed, where they can excel. So I want to play fast. I want to give them some space and some room and try to let them create.
Coach Rowe, in the back here.
Yes, sir.
Wolf Golke with NBC 29. Jim, what does it mean to have the opportunity to come back and coach where you went to school? And other than the fact that you went to JMU, what made this job attractive to you?
Well, obviously it's a head coaching job, but I don't think there's anything more attractive than coming home to the place where I came to JMU. It was an opportunity. I thought, obviously basketball-wise, but I had no idea what this place was going to mean to me, to my entire life. So I think there's nothing more attractive than that, than being an alum and coming back to a place that means something to you.
Coach Rowe, Jake Broad with The Breeze. What sort of plans do you have to try to increase attendance and have an active role in the community?
Well, obviously, there's a lot. First of all, I always say it's a two-way street. I want the community, if they have any good ideas, I want them to know that we're accessible, I'm accessible, my guys are going to be accessible. So any good ideas that you have, just bounce them off of them. But other than that, obviously, it all starts with putting a winning product on the court, and I want these guys to play hard. I want them to make extra efforts. I want people, when they leave here, to say that it was worth coming here to watch us, and I think that spreads, that builds. Again, I watched Kenny Brooks, Coach Brooks, how he built his program. I would sit in those stands and watch his practices and watch his games, and I understand what it means to build with a winning team and a team that plays the right way. So we're going to start there. Again, we're going to be accessible in the community. We're going to carry ourselves the right way on campus, and people will see that, and I think they'll want to be here.
Jeff, as you know, cost of attendance is the hot button topic for fans here. I'm curious on your end, how often did that come up with candidates during the search?
We actually spoke to each candidate about cost of attendance. We heard that they felt like it's obviously a national issue. They raised the question. Many of the candidates that we talked to said it was something that at their respective institutions they either had not felt fully or that they were starting to. A couple were actually in a position to offer it. They also told us at the same time they felt like a new facility was critically important to what we were doing. And we know that there are a couple teams within the Colonial that are offering cost of attendance. The future, I guess, is open on that at this point to see what happens. But it's something like we've always said in the past. We realize it's an issue, and it'll be something that as a league we have dialogue with as we move into our meetings this summer, which start in June. So it's something we'll look at.
Yeah, you said that. From JMU's end, is this a money issue or a philosophical issue when it comes to cost of attendance?
I think it's more of a philosophical issue, not to downplay the importance of money. Money is critical, and it seems like everything that we do, but it's been more of a philosophical issue for the presidents that adopted it early on and looked at it. And again, I think it's important to say that the landscape across the country is likely to change. I mean, it's a very fluid environment. So our goal was to see what happened on a national level and then make subsequent decisions as a league as to what we would do.
For you, Lou, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Bowling Green offered cost of attendance last season. Coming here to a school that's not doing it, do you see that as a disadvantage on the recruiting trail?
Like they said, it's a hot button topic. We did offer it at Bowling Green. I think there's only 2 schools in the CAA that offer it, so I don't see it as a big disadvantage. But obviously, it's something that's going to continue to change as we go through this and as more teams start to jump on.
You've been at a lot of different jobs here the past few years, different states. Where do you feel most comfortable recruiting? Where would you say your recruiting strongholds are?
Well, honestly, recruiting is about building relationships. And wherever you have those relationships, you have them. I don't pigeonhole myself. I found that I can go to Texas and now get players. I met a guy in Texas and branched out from there. So I don't try to limit myself. Obviously, I'm from Florida, and I've gone up and down the East Coast, obviously, Virginia on down, but Texas, and I recruit JUCOs. So I want to get some good kids.
So, I mean, in-state recruiting, you wouldn't say is like a top priority, just bringing in kids from wherever?
Yes, it is a top priority. You want to get the best kids. You want to get some local kids. Obviously, it means a lot to have kids in the state of Virginia coming to our school.
What do you think about the roster you have coming back next season? Obviously, a lot of those guys are here watching right now.
Well, the one thing I can say is there's 8 seniors. So those guys should be really hungry. They've tasted, the first round exit, and even though they had a really good season, now I think they should be really hungry and really ready to go to work. So that's what I think.
Coach, in the back again, this is your first opportunity as a head coach. You've obviously been an assistant other places, but what are some of the maybe obstacles you expect to face, and how do you kind of overcome that? How will you kind of learn, being this is your first year as a head coach?
Again, there are challenges as a first-year head coach, obviously. The one thing I'll say is, and I continue to reiterate this, is throughout this process, I've studied basketball. I've been around guys that had a lot of basketball knowledge, and I tried to take pieces from them. So you try to make yourself as ready as you can be. And I'll say this, I'm not as ready as I was 9 years. I'm more ready than I was 9 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago. As I've gone through this, I know I'm at the point now where I'm ready. I'm ready to take on the challenges. There's going to be some things that come up. I think I have a good staff around me. We're going to work very, very hard. We're going to support these guys and push them. And I think I'm ready for that.
When your guy Lefty was here, JMU would often bring in power conference schools to play here at the Convo. I guess what's your philosophy on non-conference scheduling? Would you like to play more power conference opponents than JMU has in recent years?
Well, the objective is obviously to make it to the tournament. So you want to balance your schedule accordingly to try to put yourself in the best position to make it to the tournament. And in that balance, obviously there are schools that are in-state schools that obviously, draw as, attendance. There's big draw schools. Then you want to play some big schools. You have to think about your RPI. So within that mix, I'm willing to do anything that puts us in, my ultimate goal is to get to the tournament. So anything that helps us boost our resume to get to the tournament.
I guess I'll ask you this way. JMU usually only played one power conference team in the recent seasons, one per year. Do you anticipate seeing more than that in coming seasons?
Again, we're going to work with Mr. Bourne on the scheduling. It's influx, and obviously, but I don't mind going anywhere and playing anybody, if that's the short answer. I'm looking forward to it.
Coach, just where do you see JMU right now in the conference, in the CAA? And obviously, winning your conference tournament guarantees you a berth into the NCAA tournament. How do you guys compete in the CAA, and keep up with those teams in this conference? What are the challenges that this conference itself presents?
Well, obviously, I do know, I've actually watched a lot of our games here, seen a lot of these guys playing. And then, obviously I follow the CAA, so you kind of know the strengths of the teams. And again, I think the mid-major level is about getting tough guys. The same thing that helps them in the classroom helps them on the court. You try to get some tough guys that value defense, guys that value playing together. And I feel like if you look at the better teams in any league, especially at this level, they're probably a little tougher. They play they play defense a little better, a little more physical, especially at playoff time. And I think that's kind of the MO that we need to get and DNA that we need to take on, to be a little tougher, a little more physical. But other than that, we're fine.
Coach, every coach seems to have their own little trademark. What trademark do you want to put on this team and that you hope people remember for years?
Well, honestly, it's all about the guys. Everything it's about the players, and I hope the trademark is that we get good guys, and when people come to watch them, they leave and they say, "I'm proud." Those guys always gave the extra effort. They played together. They know how to carry themselves. I think the trademark of a winning program is the players.
Going back to recruiting, how do you feel about bringing in transfers? Is that something you would like to do? You mentioned JUCO guys, but like sit-out transfers, how do you feel about that issue?
Obviously, there's a lot of that. A lot of guys are moving around and leaving schools these days, a lot more than in the past. If you can find a good one and get him in, of course, I'm welcome to it. As long as he can come in here and obviously do the work and we can keep him on track to graduate, I'm all for it.
I was talking to one of your ex-teammates today, Ken Kaluko, funny guy.
You don't know the half.
Yeah, I got that idea pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had kind of expressed disappointment about where attendance was these days compared to when you guys play. I'm curious, when you were looking at this program from afar the past couple of years, were you kind of saddened to see where fan interest was at?
I wasn't. What it said to me is to not take anything for granted, because we were here. We were here. Everybody came out. It was the thing to do. And you don't want to take it for granted. You don't want to start acting in a way on campus where the students or the community. I'm not saying that's what happened, but what I'm saying is what it said to me is that maybe somewhere something got lost, and it's we have to work to get it back. So I wasn't sad. I just looked at it as never take anything for granted, because it is a blessing that people come and watch you. They don't have to come watch you.
I guess along those lines, how important is it to get this new arena built in the coming years?
Obviously, for me as a coach and me even as a former player, I go online, I looked at it, it's beautiful. It would be great to get it built, but again, I think I can compete anywhere, and I'm just, I don't think too much about it.
Coach, there are many fans who are interested in a conference change for a whole nother sport, but was conference change in the future of this basketball team in the CAA part of any discussions when you were interviewing for the job or interviewing or talking with any fans or players?
No, sir, not at all.
For you, Jeff, you had mentioned earlier how you guys made the decision to move on from Matt Brady. Was it awkward at all to hire a guy who was a former Brady assistant? I guess, how did you weigh that connection?
Not at all. He got a haircut today. I think he looks really good. He's polished. He's always a dapper-looking guy. I think Mike brings a great deal to the table. Obviously, he's done a great job for us. I think if you look at the areas that he was responsible for on the prior staff, He did a great job for that. He's very good in the community. I mean, he was the one guy last year, over the past couple of years, that we could always count on. When we were on the road or we had competitions or something with the Duke Club, Mike was always there. Mike was our guy that got out and spoke. So he really sort of embodied the things that we were asking, and I think he's done an exemplary job. I really do.
I was actually referring to Lou.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lou's done a great. I have no problem with hiring somebody where their talent level's high. We looked at Lou and said, we took all of our criteria down the page, and you could go down through the interview and check off every item that felt critical in a new hire with a head coach. And when we finished the interview, we said he hit every one of those. That's hard to do, really hard to do in an interview like what we're dealing with a head coach at JMU. So I think, again, I mentioned earlier, he's one of our own. He gets JMU. He understands what it takes to be successful here, and he can relate to those guys and what they're going to have to do to be successful. So certainly no issues for me. I'm extremely proud to have him on our staff, and I think he's going to do a terrific job.
Thank you.
Lou, did you run into Matt at all in Houston this weekend? Did you see him?
No, I didn't.
Have you guys spoken since you got the job?
He texted me congratulations.
How would you say your relationship was with him? You guys worked together, I think, 4 years.
A good relationship. He texted me congratulations. I texted him back, thank you, Coach.
Jeff, you mentioned Coach Rowe's connection to the university and how that was a strong part of hiring him and bringing him in. Was there what were some other things that stood out in the interview process and going through the candidates that made Rowe the right fit for JMU?
Well, one of the areas we went back to, we said in the past, maybe where was the weakness? Where were we maybe not hitting the mark? Granted, we'd won 19 and 20 games in the past, so we've been competitive, but obviously this building wasn't as full as we wanted it to be. I think, frankly, the team's synergy, internal synergy, was not as strong as I wanted it to be. And I think the overall engagement within the university community itself is something that we've got to work diligently toward. And when we looked at the characteristics and personality of Lou, we just felt like that was a really good fit. His ability for technical and tactical parts of basketball are great. That part of it, no concern with whatsoever. And he's a terrific recruiter. Matter of fact, probably the top talent that we recruited to our team in a number of years, Lou was involved in that recruiting effort. So from recruiting, it was fine. It was all of those other areas from an interconnected piece that we felt needed to be strengthened. And I think that plays right to his strengths and right to where his prior experience here has been.
And then for you, Coach, the fact that you did play here, how do you kind of use that relatability with not only the players on your roster, maybe out on the recruiting trail, maybe with the fans? How do you kind of maximize the fact that you are a Duke and kind of bring energy back, and help strengthen attendance?
Well, I don't think they know or care about, obviously how many points I scored or anything like that. But I do think there's some relatability in the fact that, I played here, I went to school here, very familiar with what goes on, and it brings a certain amount of passion and a certain amount of energy. So I think when you sit down with the parent, when you sit down with the high school coach, or when you look at these young men, you look them in the face, they do understand that maybe there's a certain amount of truth, there's a certain amount of realism to what you're saying, and that's all you want. You just want to inspire these guys, and if there's a certain amount of inspiration in the fact that I played here before them, then that's good.
Anything else? All right, well, thank you all for coming out today. We do have a couple quick media obligations for Coach Rowe. I know a number of you may want to say hello to him here this afternoon yet, but we have a couple things we need to do with him first, so hang tight. But thank you again for coming out.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.